Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Just this week, there was a new Wall Street Journal NBC News poll that was released that showed that 56% of voters consider American society to be racist, and 71% think that race relations in this country is either very bad or fairly bad. That's up from 55% in February. 58% of those surveyed said that they're more concerned with racial inequality as a result of the Black Lives Matter protests. Back in 2008, more than 7 in 10 voters said that race relations were good. Now, 6 in 10 voters say that race relations are bad. It's a lot of numbers to throw around, but ultimately, people in this country from both parties, from multiple racial groups, increasingly believe that racism is a problem in this country. But I don't think that that necessarily means that America is suddenly becoming more racist. I think we as white people are finally willing to learn more about the Black experience in America and the racism that Black people have always endured. A lot of that exposure of these wounds is due to the airing of racist incidents that are then shared on social media and then picked up by traditional media. How many George Floyds were there that we don't know about, we don't hear about, and we don't hashtag because they weren't recorded and weren't shared? Exposure is making a difference. The coverage is making a difference. The first step to solving our problems is to accept the truth in what we see, no matter how ugly it may be. My friend on the other side of the aisle said last month that we all bring our own life experiences here to shape who we are and how we advocate. And I talk a lot about my 4 years at Michigan State University's journalism school because it was a life-defining period for me. It's why I am that fierce advocate to expand FOIA. It's why I think we should shine a brighter light on what could influence how legislation is written and how campaigns are run. It's not an accident or a coincidence or a happenstance that our founding fathers placed the freedom of the press in the First Amendment, in the same sentence as freedom of religion and freedom of speech that we hold so dear. Every word in the Bill of Rights is intentional. Journalists are the fourth estate of our democracy. Their work shines a light into the inner workings of government to hold public officials accountable. This is why I introduced Senate Resolution 134 yesterday, along with Representative Manoogian's House resolution, to denounce police violence against journalists and reaffirm the right of a free press to investigate and report on the police without intimidation or violent obstruction. In just the first few nights of the Black Lives Matter protests, the Detroit News, the Detroit Free Press, and MLive reported that police brutality occurred against their reporters on the scene. MLive said that their reporter was, quote, hit by as many as a dozen pellets in her face and body, leaving welts and narrowly missing her eye. All reporters were carrying credentials and identified themselves before they were attacked. The Freedom of Press Tracker, a conglomerate of press freedom groups, has been tracking journalists impeded while documenting national protests since May 25th of this year. And as of just yesterday, they have verified and documented more than 546 reported incidents between police and journalists, including more than 100 physical attacks. This is worthy of our condemnation in the strongest terms possible. Our Constitution demands it. So I add Senate Resolution 134 to the growing list of my resolutions languishing in committee that should be considered for immediate passage. Thank you, Mr. President, and I ask for my remarks to be printed in the Journal.